Hello everyone, it's Jamarl Thomas. Welcome to the Progressive Soapbox. Hope everyone is doing okay this afternoon. Let me check my volume. If you've noticed, in the background I have rotating a sexual offender. Essentially a man who predatory nature of women is breathtaking in its scope. In one of the stories, in one of the encounters, I forget the woman's name because if we're being honest, it's not just one or two. We're talking about a career of women that were molested, abused, raped, taken advantage of by Weinstein. Now, we find out that Weinstein received, or assisting Weinstein in covering this stuff up, you can say, potentially was one Andrew Cuomo. The same Andrew Cuomo that's governor that's running against Cynthia Nixon for the governorship. Apparently, a law firm gave his governorship $25,000. I think it was more than that. I'm going to go through the story, but $25,000. What did that buy Cuomo? And I'm using the term buy. It bought time. Now Cuomo has said, I am not going to do this case because I don't want to intrude on the case. But the reality of it is, because he said that doing that may go on indefinitely, in perpetuity. Because it's possible that this case may go on for a period of time. Cuomo has received money. Or at the very least, what it looks like is Cuomo receives a large share of money, $25,000. And for that share of money, bought time. Bought time. I'm going to go through the story, but the story is gross. Just to give you an idea of the quality of person that we're talking about. Harvey Weinstein, in one of the most notable cases, or at the very least grossest cases to me, blocked a woman's exit from a room. And when he found that woman wasn't interested in having sex with him, Harvey Weinstein took out his penis and masturbated into a plant. I don't know what the plant did to him. To me, for whatever reason, this is one of the grossest scenes that I can think of. That person should be behind bars. That person was protected for years on end by people who knew what he was doing, knew that he was a rapist, knew that he was predatory, but let him alone because of his standing. He was finally busted. You find out that there were certain political people who assisted in keeping him out of prison. This story has just broke loose a day after the debate between Cuomo and Cynthia Nixon. I would push everybody to take a look at that debate. But I would also encourage people to read on this story and to determine whether or not Cuomo, somebody who very likely may have protected a serial sex abuser because he got some kind of campaign donation, is that what you want to persist as your governor? Let's take a look at this story. I think these people are bought anyway, so this doesn't shock me in the least. But what it looks like is Cuomo received thousands of dollars. And he gave, let's say, an order. I want to cut this right, because I want to be specific. But the nuts of it is, the nuts and bolts, it's a flat fact. Cuomo received $25,000, at least $25,000 from Harvey Weinstein's lawyer. After receiving that money, Cuomo put a suspension in on the case itself. And did the suspension in a way that this could go on indefinitely. It looks like Cuomo was being bought by a rapist. That's what it looks like. On its face, that's what it looks like. Let's go into the story. The story is amazing. And it should disqualify him for the governorship outright. This is Capital in Maine, but this is in other stories also. David Sirota. Good job, David. Last year, political firestorm erupted when journalists revealed that Harvey Weinstein, producer Harvey Weinstein's lawyer, David Bowes, gave $10,000 to Manhattan District Attorney Cyrus Vance Jr. in the months after Vance declined to prosecute the movie producer in sexual assault charges. Now, less than a year later, New York Governor Andrew Cuomo has halted an investigation into the handling of the Weinstein case just as Bowes' law firm gave Cuomo's campaign $25,000 according to state records reviewed by Capital in Maine and Sludge. Well, that's peculiar. Are you telling me that the guy running for governor got $25,000 from the law firm of a rapist and suspended the campaign? That looks bad. That looks extremely bad. It looks like you were being paid off by a rapist. The controversy spotlight ongoing questions about whether law enforcement actions in New York are being inappropriately influenced by campaign donations. Amid explosive headlines about Bo's donations to Vance and the district attorney's decision not to prosecute Weinstein, Cuomo in March called for the New York Attorney General's office to investigate the handling of the case, which revolved around accusations that Weinstein groped an Italian model. While Vance in May opted to reverse course and charge the Hollywood producer, Cuomo declared that the investigation into Vance's original decision to not prosecute Weinstein was necessary because the governor said it is critical not only that the case are given the utmost attention, but also that there is public confidence in the handling of these cases. Protect the rapists. Hollywood BuzzFeed on Tuesday reported that Cuomo's reversed himself in June, sending a letter to New York's attorney Barbara Underwood asking her to suspend the investigation for 6 months. The suspension effectively halted voices from scrutiny and potential relationship between the 2015 donation to Vance and Vance's decision not to prosecute Weinstein. Seems like they were trying to cover the fact that he got a huge amount of money to not prosecute. Cuomo's June order came 6 days after Bose, Schiller, and Flexer gave $25,000 to Cuomo's re-election campaign, according to New York's campaign finance records. That's amazing! That's amazing! How does that not disqualify Cuomo from this race outright? Cuomo's June order came 6 days after Bose, Schiller, and Flexer gave $25,000 to the Cuomo re-election campaign, according to New York campaign finance records. In all, Bose and his law firm have given Cuomo's gubernatorial campaign more than $245,000 since 2009. Neither Bose or anyone else from his firm ever discussed Harvey Weinstein or Mr. Vance with Cuomo or anyone from his office at any time, a spokesperson for Bose, Schiller, and Flexer said in an email statement. Mrs. Bose is a longtime supporter of Mr. Cuomo, and his contribution in June was consistent with his contributions to Mr. Cuomo over the past few years. I love that. For once, just for once, I would love for somebody to come out and say, yes, I gave him $25,000 because I didn't want him to prosecute my client. Yes, that's exactly what I did. Nobody ever does that. Nobody ever does that. But hey, maybe we could take him at face value like some of the people took the other guy calling Gillum a monkey at face value. It was just an accident. The $25,000 that they gave wasn't to buy him off at all. It just so happens that Cuomo decided to not prosecute, coincidentally, after he received $25,000 from the law firm associated with Harvey Weinstein. I'm pretty sure that's totally what it is. Cuomo's spokesperson said the investigation was suspended temporarily in order to avoid interfering with Vance's ongoing prosecution of Weinstein. As we said when the governor directed the Attorney General to investigate the Manhattan DA's office, it should not interfere with the DA's ongoing criminal case. Cuomo's press secretary, Danny Lever, told BuzzFeed, given the recent indictment and prosecution of Harvey Weinstein by the district attorney, the Attorney General's investigation has been postponed for 6 months. However, BuzzFeed's report pointed out that the criminal proceeding against Weinstein could drag on for years. The Attorney General's investigation may effectively be suspended indefinitely. Indefinitely. After publication of this story, a spokesman for Cuomo issued the following statement. The Attorney General's investigation was suspended to avoid the situation in which Weinstein defense attorney will be able to constantly petition the Attorney General's office for information about what was uncovered and undermine a criminal prosecution. So it's up to you. Do you believe that the $25,000 that Cuomo got, and after he received that $25,000 from the law firm, that it's a complete coincidence that 6 No, let me be specific. How many days later? All right, let's read it again. I want to be certain. Right here. Now, less than a year later, Governor Cuomo has halted an investigation into the handling of Weinstein's case, just as Bo's law firm gave Cuomo's campaign $25,000. Cuomo's June order came 6 days after Bo Schilling and Flexer gave $25,000 to Cuomo. Now, so it's up to you. It's up to you. Do you believe that the money that Cuomo got, 6 days, that he halted the investigation into mishandling of this case dealing with Harvey Weinstein as a complete coincidence 6 days after he received $25,000? Or are you something like me that says if you receive $25,000 and 6 days later you essentially halt an investigation, then maybe they're related. But it's up to you. Who do you believe? Cuomo or your lying eyes? What it looks like, however, on its face, is that sex offender Harvey Weinstein's, at the very least his lawyer, was still looking out for his client. And the $25,000 that Cuomo got, Cuomo is asking you to believe that it is a complete coincidence that Cuomo halted an investigation into the handling of the Harvey Weinstein case 6 days after his campaign received $25,000. I'm a little bit more cynical than that. If it quacks like a duck, at least in the political speak, when they have every incentive in the world to behave a particular way, I tend to believe it's a duck. So I put the articles at the bottom for you guys to see for yourselves. Let's see. Beltazar, I fixed the super chat. All right, I fixed the super chat. At least I think I have. So there's a link at the bottom if you want to give. That's not a push. It's just a heads up. A little bell would ring, ideally, supposedly, and a little Star Trek figure would pop up and say thank you. Garnome, I would bribe some of the people with 10 years of hard labor. Yeah, Garden, agreed. Cryptic Warrior, so you do admit to do bad things. Okay, I miss you on that one. This was a conversation between you and somebody else. Cynthia Nixon needs to crush him with this. Cynthia Nixon will crush him with this because the media is part of the political space, and it is part of the weapons that politicians use to crush and hit their opponents. I wouldn't be shocked if somebody gave Cynthia Nixon this and she leaked this to the press so they can hit Cuomo with. This is politics. It's politics. It's blunt force politics, but it is politics. I'm inclined to think that $25,000 is related to the suspension. I do too. I think these people have conversations that we're not necessarily privy to, where they would stand back and say, hey, the thing that I just said, or the thing that I did that looks like I am doing something, I'm not actually doing it. You've mistaken that I have done that thing. If we got $25,000 and then we turned around and suspended the suit or suspended the investigation into the handling of the case and suspended it in a way that could take years to even start back, I know that looks bad, and it looks like I'm trying to cover my own ass, and it looks like I'm doing some kind of favor for the person who just gave $25,000 to my campaign. But trust me, I'm Cuomo. I'm totally trustworthy. The $25,000 that was put into my pocket for my campaign in no way affected my decision to halt the investigation into whether or not the handling of the case for the rapists was held on the up and up. Do you honestly believe that? What it looks like is Cuomo helped the rapist. Cuomo helped a sexual abuser. Cuomo seems to have helped the guy who instigated the Me Too movement. That is amazing. And ultimately, Cynthia Nixon is going to hammer the hell out of him with this. So, that's where we are. I will end this one here because I don't want this one to go too long. I find this one to be amazing, though. I mean, it's so over the top. And just so we're clear, I want to read this part again because this is fucking phenomenal. Because there are two parts to this. Last year, a political firestorm erupted when journalists revealed that Hollywood producer Harvey Weinstein's lawyer gave $10,000 to the district attorney, Cyrus Vance Jr., in the months after Vance declined to prosecute the movie producer. He declined to prosecute a habitual rapist. After he got $10,000 as a thank you. All right, let's keep going. Because I want to go through this again because I find this to be amazing. Now, an explosive headlines about both donations to Vance and the district attorney's decision not to prosecute Weinstein, Cuomo called for the New York Attorney General's office to investigate. So Cuomo says, hey, we need to investigate this because this looks bad. While Vance and May opt to reverse course, well, yeah, because everybody at that point started to pay attention to the fact that he got $10,000 and didn't prosecute somebody who was a habitual rapist. While Vance opted to reverse course and charged a Hollywood producer, Cuomo declared that an investigation into Vance's original decision to not prosecute Weinstein was necessary because the governor said it's critical that not only are these cases given the utmost attention, but also that the public confidence. So essentially, look, this looks bad. You got $10,000 that didn't investigate a guy who's a habitual rapist. This looks bad. So we need to open an investigation into the fact that you didn't open an investigation, not to mention getting $10,000. All right, right here. This is the interesting part. However, BuzzFeed on Tuesday reported that Cuomo reversed himself in June, sending a letter to New York Attorney General asking her to suspend the investigation for 6 months. The suspension effectively shields Bowles from scrutiny of any potential relationship to the 2015 donation. Cuomo intercedes and says, stop! Stop! Stop all level of investigations. That's what Cuomo does. And then we find out that 6 days before Cuomo gave that order to stop, the law firm had given him $25,000. It looks like Bowles' law firm is working overtime. It also looks like your governor is corrupt. Just saying. Just saying. Cynthia Nixon, eviscerate him with this. Have at it. Have at it. It was put in the media for you to hit him with. Have at it. Have at it. Cuomo is assisting a rapist. Have at it. I love this picture. This is one of my favorites. I'll leave it here. All right, guys. If you enjoy the content, please feel free to share, like, subscribe. You can always support through PayPal or Patreon. If you're having trouble with Patreon, you can support through PayPal. This guy's so gross. And the idea that Andrew Cuomo, to any measure at all, would help him out, especially for cash, is even grosser. I'll leave it here. Thanks, guys.